Have you ever felt it? That slow, creeping realization. That the people you once counted on, your family, your friends, the ones you thought would always be there, might not be as reliable as you hoped? Maybe it happened on a quiet afternoon, when the phone didn't ring like it used to. Or maybe it was at a family gathering, where you sat quietly in a corner, watching the younger ones swirl around you, too busy with their own lives to notice you needed a moment, a hand, a little care. It's not that they don't love you. It's not that they don't care at all. But life pulls people in different directions. Careers, children, distractions, they all move faster, while you stand still, wondering when you became a background character in your own family's story. And there's a moment, if you haven't felt it yet, you might, when you realize. When it really matters, when I really need someone, will they show up? And that thought? It shakes you. It stings a little. Maybe a lot. But listen, you're not alone. This is a truth many of us face after 60. The relationships that once held you up start to shift, stretch thin, or even disappear. It's not about blame. It's about reality. And recognizing this early, accepting it with clear eyes and a strong heart, is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. Because here's what's real, if you know where true support comes from. If you know how to build it with your own two hands. You can still live with dignity. You can still have your independence. You can still find joy, real, lasting joy, every single day. No matter who else chooses to walk with you, or doesn't. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 6 pillars of true, unshakable support. The ones you can rely on when family can't, or won't. These are the foundations that don't crumble when the storms come. Some of them might surprise you. Some of them might challenge you. But every single one will give you strength, security, and peace of mind for the years ahead. And by the end of this video, you'll not only know what they are. You'll know exactly how to start building them, brick by brick, for yourself. And if you believe, like I do, that being prepared is the key to thriving, not just surviving, in your later years. Then right now, drop a comment below that says, I'm building my pillars. I want to see you there. Because here, on Elderly Wisdom Guide, we're not just waiting for life to happen to us. We're taking control of the story. Alright, let's get into it. Imagine this. John, 68 years old. A man who watched his circle of family grow quieter, watched friends move away, watched life slow down around him. But every morning, no matter what, John laced up his shoes, opened his front door, and took a walk. Sometimes 5 minutes, sometimes 50. Rain, sunshine, even the biting cold, he showed up for himself. It wasn't just exercise. It was a statement, I'm still here. I'm still strong. I still matter. When the phone calls came less often. When family visits became, maybe next month. John's strength, his energy, his balance, his resilience, became his greatest ally. His own body stood by him when others couldn't. And that's the first pillar you absolutely must build, your health. Not because someone tells you to. Not because of a number on a scale. But because after 60, your body is either your greatest supporter, or your heaviest burden. Here's the honest truth, after 60, your muscle mass naturally starts to decline. Balance weakens, making falls more dangerous than ever. Even small illnesses, things that used to be nothing, can spiral into major health problems. Health isn't just about feeling good anymore. It's about protecting your freedom. It's about guarding your independence like the treasure it is. And yet, so many people fall into the trap of thinking, I'll deal with it later. I'll start walking when the weather's nicer. I'll eat better after the holidays. But later often doesn't come. And by the time it feels urgent, it's already harder to fix. That's why the time to build your first pillar, your physical health, is right now. Not with grand, overwhelming goals. Not with punishing routines. But with small, daily promises to yourself. Take a short walk around the block. Do a few minutes of light strength exercises with simple weights or even just your body weight. Focus on nourishing, balanced meals, colorful fruits, hearty vegetables, enough protein to keep your muscles alive and strong. These aren't luxuries. They're your shield. They're your safety net. They're the quiet, powerful things that let you say, I can take care of myself. I'm not at the mercy of anyone else. And isn't that a beautiful feeling? Now, building physical strength is only half the battle. Because what good is a strong body without a strong heart and mind? What about those days when it's not your legs or your lungs that falter, but your spirit? That leads us into your next essential pillar, one that's just as crucial as your body, pillar 2, mental and emotional resilience. It is less visible, but just as vital. Picture Mary. 72 years old. She lost her spouse, the love of her life, after 46 years of marriage. Her closest friends, one by one, moved to be closer to their children, or into assisted living. The house that was once filled with laughter and noise started to echo with silence. It could have broken her. And for a while, it almost did. But Mary made a choice. She started each morning with a small ritual, one handwritten affirmation in a journal by her bedside. Simple words like, I am still here. I am still worthy. I can still find joy today. She practiced gratitude, even on the hard days, especially on the hard days. A blooming flower outside her window. A warm cup of tea. A neighbor's smile. It wasn't magic. It wasn't instant. But day by day, Mary rebuilt something powerful inside herself, her own emotional fortress. And here's what science tells us, not just stories, but real research: people who nurture emotional resilience after 60 don't just feel better. They actually live longer. Stronger. Happier. It's not a mystery. Your mind and body are deeply connected. Chronic sadness, loneliness, unmanaged stress, they wear down your immune system, your heart, your very will to move forward. But hope? Gratitude? A sense of purpose? Those things act like medicine, but better. They heal you from the inside out. And here's the most important truth: emotional resilience isn't something you're just born with. It's not about being naturally tough or naturally positive. It's a skill. A habit. A muscle you can train, just like your legs or your lungs. But sadly, too many people think, oh, I'm just not that strong. Or, it's too late for me to change. And that's simply not true. You can start today. Right now. Simple steps: take 5 minutes each morning to write down 3 things you're grateful for. Pick up an old hobby, or discover a new one, that makes you lose track of time. Find a small community, even online, even in a local group, where you can share your voice and your story. Because when you do these little things daily, you're not just passing time. You're building emotional armor. You're giving yourself a reason to smile when the world feels heavy. And trust me, that armor will carry you farther than you can imagine. Now, inner strength, emotional resilience, they're powerful. But even the strongest heart needs hands to hold on to sometimes. True independence doesn't mean isolation. It means building a strong outer network, one that goes beyond family ties. That brings us to your third pillar. A pillar that could quietly become your most treasured lifeline. Pillar 3, a trusted social circle. It is something many people overlook. After retirement, Frank, a hardworking man who gave 35 years to his job, found himself feeling strangely empty. He thought he had dozens of close friends. After all, he'd spent nearly every day with his coworkers, laughing at lunch, sharing stories, working side by side. But when the retirement party balloons deflated and the farewell cards got tucked away, the phone stopped ringing. The invites disappeared. The friendships he thought were built for life turned out to be tied only to the workplace. It hurt. It felt like another kind of loss. But life has a funny way of surprising you if you stay open. Frank started attending a small book club at the local library, just something to fill the afternoons. He joined a few neighbors for casual walks around the park. At first, it felt awkward, even pointless. But slowly, week by week, those casual chats turned into real conversations. Those smiling faces turned into helping hands when he needed a ride to the doctor, or someone to help change a light bulb. It wasn't the people he expected. But it was exactly the support he needed. And this isn't just a nice to have. It's a matter of health and survival. Study after study shows, seniors with strong social ties, friends, neighbors, even club acquaintances, live longer. They have lower rates of cognitive decline. They recover faster from illness. They experience less depression, less anxiety, and far more joy. Because humans aren't built to go it alone. We're wired for connection. We need someone who notices if we're not ourselves. Someone who checks in when the days get dark. And yet, so many of us make the mistake of thinking, my family will be enough. My kids will be there when I need them. I don't need new friends at this stage. But here's the quiet truth that nobody likes to say out loud: family can love you deeply and still be too busy, too far away, or too overwhelmed to be your daily lifeline. That's why building your social web, intentionally, thoughtfully, is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. Don't wait for people to come knocking. Don't assume connections will just appear. Go out and plant the seeds. Join a club, whether it's books, gardening, chess, or even a walking group. Volunteer for something you care about, not just to help others, but to meet kindred spirits. Show up at community events, even if you feel shy, even if it's just for a few minutes. Because every handshake, every smile, every new name you learn adds one more thread to your safety net. And one day, when you least expect it, that net might catch you in a moment of real need. Now, building strong relationships is essential. They feed your soul, they lift your spirits. But there's another kind of support. One that gives you peace of mind when times get tough. And that's your financial independence. Pillar 4, financial stability. We've talked about your health, your heart, your community. But there's one more pillar that quietly holds up everything else. Your financial stability. Let me tell you about Grace. Grace was 66 when her husband passed away suddenly. She had always assumed that if anything ever happened, her children would step in and help. She had visions of moving in with one of them, or at least having a little cushion of support. It made her feel safe, until reality came knocking. Her kids loved her, no doubt about that. But they were struggling too. Mortgages, student loans, unexpected bills. Good intentions couldn't pay Grace's heating bill. Love couldn't cover her medications. And that's when Grace realized. Financial independence isn't about pride. It's about survival. It's about dignity. It's about not having to choose between buying groceries and keeping the lights on. And listen, this isn't just about money. Financial stress after 60 hits harder than you might think. It doesn't just weigh on your mind, it wears down your body. Increased blood pressure. Worsened chronic illnesses. Higher rates of depression and anxiety. You carry the worry in your shoulders, your heart, your bones. Every unpaid bill feels heavier when you know you can't easily bounce back. And yet, so many fall into the same quiet trap. They think, I've got my pension. That'll be enough. Or, my savings should cover it, unless something really bad happens. But here's the thing, life does happen. Emergency home repairs. Medical bills that insurance barely touches. The rising cost of living that eats away at fixed incomes faster than anyone expects. It's not about expecting the worst, it's about being ready, just in case. And you don't need a fortune to be secure. Sometimes it's the small steps that make the biggest difference. Maybe you pick up a tiny side hustle, something light, something you enjoy, to add a little cushion each month. Maybe you decide to downsize your home, trade space you don't need for freedom you'll treasure. Maybe you sit down and learn to budget differently, cutting just a few small expenses that quietly drain your resources. Each smart move adds up. Each small act of preparation protects you a little more. Because real freedom in your later years doesn't come from being rich. It comes from being steady. From knowing you can take care of yourself, no matter what storms roll in. Money matters. But it's not the only system you need to thrive after 60. There's one more pillar, one that too many overlook, but that can quietly transform the quality of your life. Pillar 5, Legal and Healthcare Preparedness. It is absolutely vital, even though most people put it off for far too long. I want you to meet Sarah. At least, in spirit. Sarah was 62 when she decided to take action. She wasn't sick. She wasn't frail. She still traveled, gardened, volunteered at the local shelter. She felt healthy, strong, invincible even. But Sarah also knew life could change in a moment. So she sat down one afternoon, called a local attorney, and put her affairs in order. She created a living will. She assigned a healthcare proxy, someone she trusted to make medical decisions if she couldn't speak for herself. She named a financial power of attorney to manage her finances if needed. At the time, it felt almost unnecessary, like buying an umbrella on a sunny day. But then, a year later, Sarah suffered a minor stroke. She was confused, disoriented, unable to make decisions in the hospital. And because she had planned ahead. There were no frantic family arguments, no confusion, no guessing what Sarah might have wanted. Everything, every wish, every instruction had already been laid out clearly, lovingly, in her own words. It made a frightening moment so much less chaotic. And it gave Sarah peace of mind to focus on healing, not fighting battles she couldn't even see. Studies show that families without clear legal documents face higher stress levels, deeper conflict, and often make rushed decisions that go against their loved ones' true wishes. It's heartbreaking to watch, and so preventable. Yet the biggest mistake people make? They believe legal documents are only for the very old, or the very sick. They think, oh, I'll do that later, when I really need it. But life doesn't always wait until you're ready. Accidents happen. Illness sneaks up. And once you lose the ability to speak for yourself, you lose the ability to choose. It's not just about protecting yourself, it's about protecting your family from the agony of uncertainty. The good news? You don't need a complicated, expensive setup. A basic will. A healthcare directive. Sometimes called a living will. A durable financial power of attorney. Those 3 simple tools can shield you and your loved ones from so much unnecessary pain. Take the time now. Even if it feels uncomfortable. Even if it feels too early. Because the greatest gift you can leave behind isn't money or property, it's clarity. It's peace. Now, you've built pillars of strength, your health, your resilience, your social circle, your financial foundation, and now, your legal safeguards. But there's one final pillar. And it might seem simple at first glance. But make no mistake, it's the force that holds all the others together. Pillar 6, a deep sense of purpose. Now, this last pillar, it's one that often gets overlooked. Not because it's not important, but because it's so quietly powerful, people don't realize just how much it holds them together. It's your sense of purpose. Let me tell you about Tom. Tom worked for 40 years as a high school music teacher. Every morning, every concert, every lesson, it gave him structure, joy, meaning. But after retirement, the days started to stretch out. Empty, colorless. He tried staying busy, fixing things around the house, watching TV, visiting old friends. But something deeper was missing. One afternoon, Tom wandered into a local community center, and overheard a struggling music program looking for volunteers. They barely had instruments. The students were eager, but lost. Without even thinking twice, Tom offered to help. At first, just a few hours a week. Then, more. He taught, he listened, he encouraged. He watched those kids find their own rhythm, not just in music, but in life. And something incredible happened. Tom's life lit up again. He wasn't just passing time anymore. He was needed. He mattered. And that's the thing, having a purpose, it keeps your heart beating stronger than any medicine can. It's not just feel-good talk either. The research is clear. Seniors who live with a sense of purpose have lower rates of depression, cognitive decline, and even physical illness. Purpose builds resilience. It gives you a reason to get up every morning, even when your body aches, even when the world feels heavy. But here's where people often make a mistake. They think purpose has to be grand, launching a charity, writing a best-selling book, changing the world in some massive way. But real purpose? It's often quiet. Personal. It could be mentoring a young neighbor. Caring for a pet who relies on you. Tending a little garden and watching life bloom under your hands. Knitting blankets for newborns at the hospital. Or simply being the person who smiles at strangers and reminds them the world isn't such a lonely place. Your purpose doesn't have to make headlines. It just has to make you feel alive. If you're searching for your next chapter, ask yourself, what makes me feel useful? What brings a little spark to my day? Who can I lift up with what I already know, or already love? Because when you find that little flame, everything changes. It doesn't erase the hard days. It doesn't magically solve every problem. But it gives you a compass, a true north, so that no matter what storms come, you know exactly which way to steer. So now, you've built 6 pillars. 6 solid foundations that don't depend on who calls, who visits, or who remembers your birthday. They depend on you, your choices, your power, your heart. And when those pillars are strong, life after 60 isn't just about surviving. It's about thriving. Really living. With joy. With dignity. With strength. And it all starts with the steps you take today. You know, it's not easy to sit with the truth that family, the people you poured so much love and time into, might not always be your strongest support as you age. For many, that realization feels like a crack in the heart. A quiet kind of grief you don't always know how to name. Maybe you spent decades putting everyone else first. Maybe you dreamed that your children, your siblings, your old friends, would automatically be there, every time you needed a hand to hold. And now, looking around, it feels different. Quieter. Lonelier, sometimes. But here's what I want you to know deep down in your bones. Yes, it's a hard truth. But it's also a freeing one. Because it means that you, and only you, hold the pen. You get to write this chapter of your life. You don't have to wait for someone to rescue you. You don't have to hope and wonder and ache for help that may never come. You have the power, right now, to build your own safety net. Your own pillars. Strong, steady, and rooted deep. And here's the beautiful part, you're not alone. You're not helpless. You're not stuck. You have more strength, more wisdom, more fire in you than you might even realize. By building these 6 pillars, by caring for your health, strengthening your mind, nurturing true friendships, securing your finances, preparing legally, and living with purpose, you create a life that's rich, stable, and deeply your own. You create a life that isn't at the mercy of anyone else's choices. A life where you can stand tall, smile wide, and face each new day knowing, I am ready. I am resilient. I am enough. And it all starts with one small step. Today. Just pick one pillar. 1. Maybe it's a short walk around your block. Maybe it's making that doctor's appointment you've been putting off. Maybe it's calling a local club to see if you can join. Tiny steps build towering foundations. Your future self, the one who will look back a few years from now, will thank you. Will be proud of you. Will be standing tall on the rock-solid life you're starting to shape today. You are stronger than you realize. You are wiser than you know. And you are absolutely capable of creating a life after 60 that is not just about getting by, but about truly living. Loving. Thriving. The best is not behind you, my friend. It's ahead. Waiting for you to claim it. So, breathe deep. Stand tall. And start building. One pillar at a time. Before we wrap up, let's quickly go over what we uncovered today, because these 6 pillars, they are your armor. They are your foundation. They are your future. First, your own health. Your body is your first and forever home. Second, emotional resilience, the quiet strength that carries you through storms. Third, a trusted social circle, people who show up not out of obligation, but out of love. Fourth, financial stability, the freedom to make choices without fear. Fifth, legal and healthcare preparedness. Ensuring your wishes are honored, even when you can't speak them. And finally, a deep sense of purpose, that spark that makes every morning worth waking up for. These aren't just ideas. They are your real, tangible supports. They are the hands you can hold, even when other hands let go. Now, I want to hear from you. Which pillar do you feel strongest in right now? And which one do you want to build up next? Maybe you're already taking great care of your health, but want to strengthen your social circle. Maybe you found your purpose, but you know it's time to sort out your legal documents. Whatever it is, share it with me in the comments below. I read every word, and I'm always rooting for you. Your story could even inspire someone else who needs that little nudge to take action. And hey, if this video opened your eyes a little, if it lifted your heart, or just made you feel a little more seen, a little more understood, then I invite you to subscribe to Elderly Wisdom Guide. This isn't just a channel. It's a growing community of strong, wise souls, people who believe that aging isn't about fading away. It's about living smarter, stronger, and deeper than ever before. When you subscribe, you're not just getting videos. You're joining a movement. A family. One where you are valued, respected, and never forgotten. Thank you, truly, for spending this time with me today. Thank you for investing in yourself. Thank you for believing that life after 60 can be rich, vibrant, and full of meaning. Stay strong. Stay wise. And above all, stay hopeful. I'll see you in the next video.